Okay, let me share with you the results of the fantasy series that I played between the 1956 New York Yankees and 1954 New York Giants with a roll of the 20 side die. The New York Giants have home field advantage, so games one and two will be played in the Polo Grounds. Let's see what happens in game number one, where we have Whitey Ford going for the Yankees and John Antonelli going for the New York Giants. You could see the 56 Yankees were able to take game one by a score of 6-4. You could see in the top half of the second inning, the big hit in that inning was a Billy Martin 2 RBI triple to make the score 4-0. And if you look at the Yankee play-by-play, you'll see they added runs in the fifth and the seventh. Yogi Berra had a home run, and Hank Bauer had a home run. I put a little black dot next to them because that signifies the fact that these were both ballpark effect home runs, and this is something to keep an eye on because the Polo Grounds for 1954 in the Strat-O-Matic book is an absolute power hitter's haven. You have for left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters on a D20, it's a 1-19. It's a home run. So basically, if you roll a ballpark effect home run in the Polo Grounds, it's going out. So the Yankees were able to get tack on runs there. One weird thing which really happened in this game, which I'm going to take a couple of minutes to go through with you, in the bottom half of the fifth inning with the 56 Yanks up 5-1, I pinch hit infielder Bobby Hoffman to pinch hit for the pitcher, and he hits a 2-run home run to make the score 5-3. Then in the bottom half of the seventh inning, with the 56 Yankees up 6-3, I pinch hit Dusty Rhodes for reliever Grissom. He hits a solo home run to make the score 6-4. Then in the bottom half of the ninth inning, with Tommy Byrne, lefty Tommy Byrne, on the mound to close it out for the 56 Yanks, the 1954 Giants get a 2-out single by catcher Ray Cott. So I have to go to the bench again to pinch hit for reliever Hoyt Wilhelm. And I'm looking through the bench, and basically the only real viable bat that was left on the bench was catcher Wes Westrom. When I rolled his card, I rolled the one column. And right off the top of my head, I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to hit three straight pinch hit home runs. But it turned out to be a 1-9. So Westrom makes out. So the 1956 Yankees take the first game of this best of seven series by a score of 6-4. Okay, let's take a look at what happens in game number two. Your starters are Ruben Gomez for the New York Giants and Johnny Cucks for the 1956 New York Yankees. One interesting thing as I was getting ready for this game, remember the 56 Yankees started Whitey Ford in the first game, so I was looking up the Giants lineup against right-handed pitching, and my eyes kind of started wandering a little bit, thinking to myself, where's Willie Mays? And I was like, yeah, there's no chance I'm hitting Willie Mays six. So I didn't go by this lineup. I stuck with the players who were playing, but just simply moved Willie Mays into the cleanup spot. Now let's take a look at what happened in game number two. You can see the Giants ran away with this one by a score of 10-2. You could see third baseman Hank Thompson hit a 2-run home run in the bottom half of the first inning. And again, that has another black dot next to it, signifying that was a ballpark effect home run. Right fielder Don Mueller hit a 2-run home run in the bottom half of the fourth inning to make the score 10-1. And again, that was a ballpark effect home run. See, Willie Mays had a interesting day as he goes 2 for 5 with 2 triples and 3 RBIs. Gomez goes all the way for the 1954 Giants as they take game number 2 by a score of 10-2. Okay, so in game number 3, we have Sal Maglie going for the 1954 New York Giants and Don Larson going for the 1956 New York Yankees. Games 3, 4, and 5 in Yankee Stadium. And before I get into the results of this game, I remember a couple of years back, I think it was sometime in like 2021 or 2022, something like that. Strat-O-Matic sent out a tweet asking how many perfect games or no hitters have you played in Strat-O-Matic. And I remember when I saw that tweet, I remember thinking, I don't ever remember having a game where there was either a no hitter or a perfect game. All the Strat-O-Matic games I've ever played, I think I would have remembered that, especially if it's a perfect game, because the way I look at it is if you get a certain pitcher on the mound who has like a lot of walks on his card, it could be hard to get a perfect game, or you could always get an error based on a player's E rating or something like that. But I could see a no hitter being thrown, even though I've never experienced it. And let me show you the results of this game three between the Giants and the New York Yankees. And you're going to see that the New York Yankees win it by a score of 12 to nothing. And the New York Giants did not get their first hit until there was one out in the top half of the eighth inning. In the seventh inning, you had Thompson and Mays lead off the innings with back to back walks. And then right after that, Irvin hits a ground ball to second base. Billy Martin at second base is a 2 and an E16. And the Yankees were able to turn a double play. So with two outs in the top half of the seventh inning, I'm like, wow, I'm actually going to get a no hitter in Strat-O-Matic, which I never remember that happening before. But Westrom gets a ballpark effect single with one out in the top of the eighth, and then with two outs in the top of the ninth, Willie Mays gets a single. That Willie Mays single was actually a fielding chart single. It was a fly ball to center field. Mickey Mantle was a 2 in 1956, so that came up a single. But you see, Don Larson throws a complete game, only allows two hits with three walks, and I really thought for a second there that we were going to get a no hitter in this game. And I think it was just one of those deals where it was kind of like a perfect storm. Where if you look at Don Larson's card, especially against left handed hitters, he really doesn't have a lot of hits on his card. He has a little string of walks there, but there really aren't a lot of opportunities for hits. He does have some power issues when he faces right-handed batters, but that's specifically why I held him back to Game Three of this series, pitching in Yankee Stadium, because the ballpark effect home run in 1956 for Yankee Stadium for right-handed batters is only a one on a D20. You have to roll a one to get a home run. Plus, the 1956 Yankees defense, the defensive ratings are very good. Some of the E ratings are a little bit high, but with the exception of Bill Skowron at first base, who's a 3, everyone else who plays against right-handed pitching in the field is either a 1 or a 2. So that's why I was really thinking, as the game kept getting later and later into that eighth inning where the no-hitter was still active, I was really thinking that we were going to see a no-hitter, but that did not happen. And as I said before, the Yankees win the game by a score of 12 to nothing. You could see Mickey Mantle had a big day as he had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Yogi Berra hit another home run, and Bill Skowron hits a home run. So the 1956 Yankees take a 2-1 series lead as they win Game 3 by a score of 12 to nothing. And the other thing I was thinking after this game was I was really hoping that the series isn't going in this direction where it's just one blowout after another, because after a close Game 1 win by the 1956 Yankees, we've had back-to-back blowouts. Game 2, the Giants blew out the Yankees, and then Game 3, the Yankees blow out the Giants. So that's where we stand after 3 games. The 1956 Yankees hold a 2-1 lead. Okay, moving on to game number 4 now. We have Johnny Antonelli coming back on 3 days rest for the 1954 Giants, and the game 4 starter for the 56 Yankees is Tom Sturdivant. So let's take a look at what happens here in Game 4 with the 56 Yankees up 2-1. And you could actually see it was a pitcher, Johnny Antonelli, hitting a 3-run home run in the top of the 5th to give the Giants a 3-0 lead. And then Willie Mays had the kill shot in the top half of the 8th inning with a 3-run home run to make it 6-1. And the Giants would go on to win by a score of 7-1. Hoyt Wilhelm came out of the bullpen to get the save in this game. The only real rally the 56 Yankees mounted was in the bottom half of the 6th inning when they had the bases loaded and cut the lead to 3-1. And Hoyt Wilhelm came in to retire pinch hitter Enos Slaughter, and from there Wilhelm just finished up the game. So again, we have a game that finishes by a pretty wide margin. 54 Giants win it by a score of 7-1, and the series is tied at 2 games apiece. Okay, game number 5, we have Whitey Ford going for the 56 Yankees and Ruben Gomez going for the 1954 Giants. Again, this is game 5, series tied 2 games apiece. The game was scoreless going to the top half of the ninth inning, where I really made a real bonehead move in this top half of the ninth inning. With a runner on second and 2 out, and the catcher Ray Cott coming up to the plate, what I decided to do was to intentionally walk Cott to make the Giants pinch hit for a pitcher. And what that did was that brought Dusty Rhodes up to the plate. Lo and behold, for the second time in the series, he hits a pinch hit home run. 3-run home run in the top half of the ninth inning. So the 1954 Giants win game number 5 by a score of 3-0. Obviously, terrific game pitch on both sides. Whitey Ford goes 9 innings, not allowing any earned runs. Gomez goes 6 scoreless. 2 very big scoreless innings out of the bullpen, out of Marv Grissom, who gets the win, and Hoyt Wilhelm closes it out to get the save. So after 5 games, the 1954 Giants have a 3-2 series lead. Okay, game number 6, back in the Polo Grounds, 1954 Giants have a 3-2 series lead. Sal Maglie going for the Giants on 3 days rest, and Johnny Cucks going for the 1956 New York Yankees. And you're going to see the 1954 Giants are able to close the series out by winning by a final score of 5-4. The 1956 Yanks got off to a nice start. They got a 2-run home run from Mantle in the top half of the first inning, and then they had a ribby single by Hank Bauer to go up 3-0, and then Hank Bauer had another RBI single in the top of the fourth to give them a 4-0 lead. The big blow in this game was left fielder Monty Irvin hits a 3-run home run to put the 1954 Giants up 5-4. Terrific outing by the 1954 Giants bullpen in the game. You could see Sal Maglie was taken out after 4 innings for a pinch hitter. From there, the 54 Giants bullpen was able to completely shut down the 56 Yankees. You had 2 scoreless innings out of Don Little, who gets the win in game number 6. Sorry, I should have put that down on my score sheet here. And Hoyt Wilhelm throws 3 scoreless innings to get the save. So the 1954 Giants defeat the 1956 New York Yankees 4-2. In the series, which was pretty much close throughout, you see the total runs scored throughout the series. There were a couple of blowouts earlier in the series where the Yankees would blow out the Giants and then the Giants would turn the tables. In my opinion, these two teams are pretty much of a wash. I really wouldn't say one is necessarily better than the other. I would say I do like the 1954 Giants' depth in their lineup a little better than I like the 1956 Yankees lineup depth. I think the 56 Yankees definitely have an edge when it comes to the defensive ratings, but I do like the New York Giants 1954 lineup a little better than the 1956 Yankees. What I feel really the big difference in this series was I already spoke on what a weapon a guy like Dusty Rhodes is coming off of the bench for the 1954 Giants. You could see he has an absolutely terrific card. But really what the big difference in the series was what Hoyt Wilhelm was able to do for the 54 Giants. You see in 9 1/3 innings pitched, he didn't allow any runs and he saved 3 of the 4 wins for the 54 Giants. The Yankees 1956 Yankees don't have anything like this coming out of their bullpen. I guess you could say Tommy Byrne is their closer. He has a pretty decent card, but nowhere on the level of what Hoyt Wilhelm gives the 54 Giants. So those are my results on this fantasy series between the 1956 Yankees and 1954 New York Giants. Once again, the 1954 Giants win the series in 6 games. I thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all down the road.